Why do we choose the partners that we choose in our lives? Why is it that we end up in one relationship after another where it's dysfunctional or it's toxic or it's unhealthy or we're unhappy and we're saying to ourselves, how did we get here? Why are we choosing the wrong partners for our life? We're going to talk about that candidly right after this. What is mindset? Our mindset is based on what we believe, and anything we believe in, we put into motion. I have spent my life putting the mindset of perseverance into motion, and now I am here today to share my journey along with others whose mindsets have changed the course of their lives. Hi, I'm Mindset Coach Lorraine Lindsey, and I believe that if you can change your mind, you have the power to change your life. So are you ready? Welcome back to another episode of the Lorraine Lindsey Podcast. We are all about mindset here, where we believe that if you can change your mind, you have the power to change your life. We have our returning guest, Clevonne, in studio just to tap again into more candid conversations. This season, it's about having those real, raw, debatable, my personality versus his personality conversation. So I wanted him to come back as talk about partnerships and relationships, because most certainly you and I have both made great decisions and poor decisions and thought they were great decisions, turned into poor decisions when it comes to partnership. And, we were discussing literally last minute of what are we going to talk about? And when you said we need to talk about the rabbit hole we take ourselves down when we choose the wrong people in our lives, right? Yes. And it could seem really amazing in the beginning, and it could turn into a whole custody battle and some child support.
Yep, and a lot of us. So thank you for having me back once
of course.
again.
This might be a thing.
I am on, ladies and gentlemen, I am the real Clevonne. If you actually want to follow me on TikTok,
yes, perfect.
The real Clevonne, Clevonne, if you want to follow me. And I deactivated my Instagram and Facebook temporarily because I hadn't been using them.
Yeah, but you're going to have to make a comeback because people are going to want to know who you are.
Well, yeah, because people was reaching out to me off of those platforms like, hey, bro, where are them videos at? I'm like, oh, damn, I forgot about the videos. Like the motivational videos. And those were parts of what I was going through at the time. Like I was really going through a lot at that time. And I was, me coming from a church background, I was more so how I would handle with church. Mm-hmm. Church was my outlet of speaking. So when the actual videographer gave me an opportunity to speak, it was like I was going back to church, like just talking about whatever's going on. Like it's just, I don't know, it's just random.
You would be inspired and you would say something.
Just whatever. If we're on the spot right now, just start talking, and it'll just come out. And I can't retract it. That's the only issue. So he always, I'm seriously. So he like, hey
once
man,
it's out there,
he like just speak. That's what he say, just speak. And I started speaking.
I feel like this topic we're going to talk about today, there's going to be potential to want to retract things, but I like talking to you because you and I sometimes have opposing views, right? Which I love that. I love to be challenged in that, and we both have a lot of life experience and opinions about that. And I love to be able to speak from a woman's perspective, and then you be able to give that from your male's perspective as well. And on top of that, our personal experiences. So let's just go right into it.
That's dope. And you know what's so crazy? I want to drift a little bit too.
Okay.
There is a video that you shot when we were in high school. It was like the last year. I don't know if you still got it, but if you got it, you got it?
Yes.
And you were interviewing everybody, and I would love to see that video because it's crazy that, look, you grew up beautiful and I grew up handsome, and it's dope that we on the podcast together.
It's crazy.
Years later, and we in our 40s over here talking about real life issues or how we actually overcame.
It's so funny, that video. I remember you and I had fashion class together.
Yeah, it was the home ec lady.
Yes. And you're right, I brought my camcorder at the time. And I was going around asking everybody, where do you see yourself in the future? What's your life going to be like?
Oh, man.
And I literally went to everybody that year. And it's still in that little tiny little VHS that you put in the camcorder. So I have to have it. I'll have to try to find out if I can get it
transferred,
digitally made, because you can?
Hey,
awesome.
Look, see, that's why I come to this dude. I would love for you to do that because
it's so cool to see where we all are.
For having that video of you and I talking from then to now, I would love to bring that on.
You were so bashful back then.
Serious?
You were really quiet talking to me.
Oh, that's too cute. As soon as I get out, I'm going straight to the hood. Like, what up, cuz? What up, dog?
You were over there fronting in fashion class, making quilts.
It was girls in that class. Like, what you expect, man? And then I was doing it for my mama, too. I was a mama's boy.
You making
That's
quilts.
why I learned how to work on cars and build houses and stuff for my mama. So I'm over there doing it for my mama.
You're over there gangster making quilts. Okay.
For real.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, let's get back on topic.
Okay, go
good
for
times,
it.
Good times. All right, so let's talk about this. Why do you think that we choose bad partners for ourselves?
Ooh.
And let me add to that.
Okay.
Why do we pick bad partners for ourselves? And then why do we continue to do it after we get out of the one, get into another? Because I see this all the time. I'm guilty of it myself.
Okay.
Where it's like you end a relationship with one only to find yourself in another relationship with someone with very similar traits.
Yep.
You just keep repeating the cycle. So why do you think that is?
I personally, a lot of it is our community. And community meaning the environment you grew up in, the family that you grew up around, actually projects the mindset that you actually develop as well. The people that's upbringing you have a lot to do with what you choose and how you choose. So when you actually have somebody that is abusive or somebody who is very outrageous, like when they talk to you, it's always, why did you do this and do that? You pick up those traits.
Right.
Or if you don't pick up the traits, you get somebody that has similar traits. And that's one of the things that actually has to break within us, because I feel like that community affects us. I chose, here's the thing, because I was talking to you before, I have children with women that I wouldn't be with.
Okay, let's talk about that.
That right there is a slap in the face by itself.
Wait, because this is, okay, so I'm going to ask this question.
Okay.
Because I've seen this, heard it a lot, where there's men who have multiple children, different women, okay? How does that, where is the switch in the head that says, okay, I got myself into this situation this time, and maybe I did it over here this time.
Okay.
But how does it keep duplicating itself when we all know, if you've had at least one or two children, what the process is to making a baby? How do you keep making that same choice?
Well, let's go back to the community dialogue. I was raised where men say it was cool to be on child support. It's cool to go back and forth to jail.
It was cool to be on child support?
Yes, it's cool. Okay. You a real man, like, hey, the homie on child support, they just locked him up for, the homie just went down for,
But why is that cool?
It's because the community is breeding your mindset, just like the music, right? We would listen to this music and the music talking about kill them, do this, do all this negativity.
Yeah.
And so now I embodied that music that I was raised around. So these people who inspired me that it's cool, you're supposed to be on child support, you're supposed to be in prison.
But when you say supposed to be on child support, does that mean supposed to be because that's your responsibility? Or is it like that means you repping the fact that you have babies out there?
It's because you have kids raising kids. You have a young man that's 18 that's considered a man that's considered as 21 considered a man, 25, 30, didn't have a man to lead them. And so they have other kids leading them and telling them this is what you're supposed to do as a man, because they assume. So now because now I'm going to go into the trauma part too.
Well, but hold on. Before you go into that, let's try to answer the question. My question is, like, why is it that, in your opinion, because you're a man, you have children and you have different mothers, right? So what was it? Was it in the time when you were in the relationship, you thought it was going to be something, and so having babies was like, okay, it's part of the relationship, it's what we're wanting to do? Or was it just kind of recklessness and carelessness? Just, whatever, if it happens, it happens. Like, what is the mindset of, because I've seen it where men have many different women and they're having babies that women they don't have any real true like love and connection for. They're just literally just planting seeds.
Well,
so why is that? Where does that mentality come from?
Mentality comes from somebody not telling me what my value is as a man.
Okay.
Somebody never pouring into me to let me know that as a man, you don't go and give your seat to every woman.
Right.
You don't go and make yourself available to every woman. Nobody ever in my life told me that, ever. Nobody ever showed me that this is the value of you as a man. They told me the value of a woman, but they never told me the value of a man.
Okay.
Because a man would never respect it within the circle that I was raised in the community I was in.
So when you say they've taught you the value of a woman.
Yes.
And I need that translated, right? Because what does that mean, value of a woman? Because if you valued a woman, then why wasn't let's say, the woman you were with kept?
The one I've never had.
And I'm playing devil's advocate here.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
So the women that I chose were representations of the community.
Okay.
The community got these young hood chicks, and everybody got the hot hood chick.
Your hyenas.
Everybody trying to get
the hyenas you said last week.
That's what they is.
Crazy.
So when you look at a lot of these hyenas that I was chasing, they replicated my aunties, the other women that are around, the women at the church. They replicated that. They look just like that. So I'm choosing what I'm seeing on a regular.
But you use the word value.
Oh, when
so
we go to
I guess when you say we were taught to value women, how is that defined by when you say that? How are you defining that? And the reason why I do that is because a lot of us have words that we use and we don't know how we attach ourselves to those words, right? How we define them. And so if we're not careful, the word value and how we're defining value really has no value.
Okay, the value that I was taught is look out for her. She's precious. Don't hurt her.
Okay.
Make sure she knows her value. Make sure that we compass everything around her, surround her and protect her.
Okay.
But as a boy, throw your life away.
So throw your life away to the woman?
Throw your life away to whatever. See, when I told you about me getting shot, me getting shot was you get stripes for getting shot, right? And I survived. I came out the coma, learned how to walk again. I come out of all that.
Yeah.
But here's the mental irony of it is because I didn't die gives me less stripes.
Well, how do you know that?
Think about what I'm saying. The mentality of the community. We pour out the liquor for the homie that actually passed away. He the real one. He the one that we look out for. Big dog. He the one. Clevonne, he took a couple shots, man. He cool, but big homie, it's a mentality thing.
Yeah.
So if I'm raised around this mentality, there's nothing in that mentality that's teaching me how to choose a woman.
Okay.
So if everybody around me is on child support, in prison, fighting their baby mama, going back and forth to jail and all that, what do you think is going to come?
But I'm confused.
Okay.
I'm
talking about the men now.
No, I know that, but I'm confused by the narrative.
Okay.
It doesn't align. So when you're telling me that my life was taught, or I was taught in my community, in my life,
correct,
that women are to be valued. And I said, well, define value. And you're saying to be loyal and to take care of her and to make her feel like those sound like very endearing things.
Correct.
So if you are taught to value a woman and you get into a relationship with a woman, and you're following what you were taught, which is to value her by your definition, then why doesn't the relationship work out? Why is it the next woman and another set of children?
The next woman, well, here's the issue with a lot of men, and I'm skipping around, so there's somebody who will be able to keep up with my dialogue.
I like to bring it back.
That's cool.
No, because people, when they're listening, they're honing into a question. They want their question answered before we can move on. So you do you. I'm gonna do me, and we're gonna get through this.
That's cool. Because here's the thing: is I'm talking in what you would call as Bible parables. I mean, I'm trying to paint a picture.
I don't want to go to church right now.
Well, you're going to have to, First Lady.
Amen.
So I'm messing with you. There are some people that don't understand how do you get to this point, and I'm painting a picture for them what it looks like, because there's a lot of people still living like this.
Of course.
So going back to your question, question is, how is it that you don't value the baby mama that you choose? There's a lot of.
That's not exactly what I asked, but go for that. Answer that. That's a good question.
A lot of guys.
Because I don't know if you did value the woman. I just wasn't sure why it didn't work out.
A lot of young men value sleeping around. That's what they were valuing more. So they didn't know how to choose. They wasn't choosing. They was choosing availability. See how we cross the lines?
Okay, so this is where it doesn't. It's so convoluted. It doesn't make sense. Okay.
To you.
To me, yes. So I'm trying to get clarity in that. That's fair to me. And the reason why is because when you are taught in your community, as you say, as you put it, to value women based on this, but then the other side of you say, but we were also taught that men ain't shit.
Correct.
So if you feel like you're nothing as a man, how do you actually value the people, the women that devalue you? And so is that possibly the reason why you have this dynamic?
How do you value the women that devalue you?
Because by definition, you're saying the value is to be this way. As a man, he should be this way for a woman. Value her, be loyal to her, make her feel valuable. Those were your words, right?
Yes.
And then you're also saying at the same time that those same women that you were taught to value, you felt as though they gave you all no value as men.
Correct.
Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. So then again, could that be the problem? Could it be that in a community where men are raised to believe that women are valuable and to teach them their value, there becomes this conflict or this contradiction because in return of that, there isn't an even exchange? Does that make sense?
There isn't an even exchange. These are men that are being raised by women.
Okay.
Unfortunately, these are men that are being raised by women, but a lot of these women have never been raised by men either. So therefore, now the wires are crossing. Listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because there is no matriarch man there. Somebody asked me on a podcast recently, they asked me, do I believe that the mantle should be passed down? I say, sometimes there isn't no mantle to be passed down.
Okay.
The value of the man in the community I was raised in, there's no value.
Okay.
When you look at a lot of the deaths, there's mainly I've seen young boys on the ground in my face, 10, 11, 12, 13, 18, 21, gone, and they're looking to leave. They're looking to pass away, but they're looking to, I'm going to leave my legacy here. I'm going to find a woman that it's so messed up mentally.
Okay.
We're so psychologically messed up that a lot of us don't know how to choose the right, and I'm talking about male perspective, not just the women. I want to come back to the women, but a lot of us don't know how to choose the right partner.
Okay.
Because,
so this is what we started off the show with. Why do we choose wrong partners?
I'm going to say from me personally, I chose wrong.
Okay.
I chose wrong.
Why do you think you personally chose wrong?
Because I chose things that resemble what I was living in, what I was going through.
It was familiar.
It was very familiar. The women that were beautiful, the women that had it together, the women that was going further, I pushed them away because they didn't resemble what I was raised around.
Okay.
They didn't resemble the woman from the neighborhood. They didn't resemble the one that had the smart mouth, the one that want to fight me head up. I don't fight women and children, but I'm just saying she want to always fight and argue. But then the women that did have fathers there, I remember there was a young lady I went to go see one day, and I'm like, yeah, boy, she looked good to get at her. And she had a daddy at home. Listen to me. I never forgot this. I swear to God.
I don't mean to laugh because this is actually real.
Listen to me. She had a father at home. I go to see her. The daddy let me come in the house. I sat down. How you doing, sir? Blah, blah, blah. He was about to leave the house. This dude looked at me. He said, what you doing? I said, no, I'm sitting here. He said, check. I'm about to leave. You about to leave.
I love it.
I'm like, okay, so I walk outside to stand outside. This dude followed me all the way out of their community with his car as I walked out. And he waited till I got on the bus. I don't know if he was late. He waited till I got on the bus to leave. And that stuck in my brain forever because I never in my life had a man. This is the issue with a lot of us. I've never had a man to protect me. I've never had a man to give me a hug, get up, cook for me, give me a kiss on the cheek, tell me he's proud of me. I never had that. I never had a man to show up in my games.
So do you feel then that your choice in picking the wrong partners is because you didn't have a father to demonstrate what a man is to be for a woman? Or do you think it's because of the women in your life that taught you that you're not worthy?
I didn't get the right information. I'll just say that as a broad. Yeah,
because we talked about this off camera when we said, do women choose the wrong partners because they had bad dads or no father figures for that matter? And then vice versa. Do men make bad decisions with women because of their relationship with their mothers?
I'll say this is what's
But in your situation, you're talking about your father. So do you think that played a big role in whether or not you were choosing certain types of women?
I chose women that resemble my mama.
When you say that, what do you mean? Like her personality or?
A lot of the characteristics of my mom.
Okay.
Now, a lot of them didn't have the saving ability, and my mom bought new furniture once every 2-3 years, and there's a lot of positive that I overlooked at my mom. I homed into the negativity.
Okay, why?
Because I didn't know how to distinguish the two. Because nobody ever showed me how to separate my mom's pain from her ability to be a mother.
Yeah.
My mom was the person who, and I'm drifting, so you got to keep up with me. My mom was the individual who kept on keeping the family together. My grandma gambled up her money. My mama managed it. My aunties, them go out there in the street. She got their kids. My uncles, them get out of prison. They need somewhere to stay. My dad don't have nowhere to stay because he comes stay with us for a little bit too. So now my mom's house is the open door. Kids my cousins in foster care, my mom's house is the route to go. Other kids run away, they come to my mom's house. So my mom is in here.
So at the end of the day, not to cut you off, but emotionally, what was that dynamic for you? And the reason why I'm getting deep in the question is because there are people who are listening, right? We could tell our stories and the stories are relevant, but it doesn't get into what it did for you emotionally. What was the emotional experience for you? Because we're trying to get people to understand, why are we picking the wrong partners for our lives? Why am I here picking a person that is XYZ, fill in the blank? And so for you, you're sharing your dynamic of what you grew up with, right? But what did that mean to you at the depth of your soul? Like, what did it tell you inside your head? And how did that translate into your partnerships?
My mom delivered she spit a lot of venom from her mouth towards my dad.
Okay.
When my dad come around, my dad could be sitting in there watching TV and my mom come in there and go in on him. And he possibly couldn't did nothing today. I mean, my dad has his shortcomings, don't get me wrong. But I never seen how a woman's supposed to treat a man.
And how did that make you feel?
Well, later on, it started being directed towards me as well. Same similarity. So I chose women in those categories.
Okay.
But not just my mom, because my mom will come back and apologize, try to make it right. But I see my aunties do the same thing.
So then describe a relationship that you had that you thought was going to be meaningful and it ended up not being. And what were the similarities? Because I think this is important.
Oh,
that people get that.
You getting deep.
Well, I mean,
all right, got you.
I'm a mindsetter.
Yeah, you're a mindsetter. So I'm going into the mind to understand how people got
because
here.
It's important.
So I'll give you a scenario that was very in depth for myself.
Okay.
I was married at one point. I had a child out of wedlock on purpose.
On purpose.
On purpose.
Okay. When you said I had a child out of wedlock on purpose, was that during your marriage with somebody else?
During the marriage.
So you had an affair, and as a result, you had a child.
I had a child with my receptionist. And my ex-wife.
And why what do you mean by on purpose? Let's circle back to that.
Well, my ex-wife, because we had one child, which we have together. And I just want us to have one more kid. I'm like, let's have one more kid. And I would have been cool with that. Mm-hmm. And my ex-wife said this. She said, only a stupid bitch will have another kid with you. And I said, what? She said it again. Only a stupid bitch will have another kid with you. And I said, well, you know what? I guess I need to find a stupid bitch then.
And so did you?
I found one.
Okay.
And I wanted that to stick in her face. But here's the immaturity of me. See, this is what I'm saying. This is where I'm going with the mindset, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get back at her. I wasn't mature enough to see where she probably was hurt at, what was going on. I just wanted her to feel how I felt. Now I have a child in the middle of this. This is the immaturity in me. Yeah. And I brought this other girl in the middle of it, which she didn't care at the time. But I put her in the middle of it.
Right.
She wanted to be in the middle because I guess she thought I was going to leave my ex-wife too. For her, but she cleaned up with Windex, so I wasn't going
so crazy.
Go. But I'm making a joke. I'm trying to. So I was immature at the time when I made this decision.
And this is the whole thing. I mean, now we're talking about spitefulness.
Yes.
And as a result of your spite, I'm going to make a baby. And there's no mindset or anything in your mind that's telling you how is that outcome going to be for this child. It was so selfish.
Very selfish.
Right?
Very selfish.
But where does that come from? Because it's like, okay, let me go have an affair with the receptionist. Let me start a new relationship with, but why a baby? Why a child? And I'm not, I want to make this clear, I'm not condemning because I really appreciate the transparency and the openness. I'm just wanting to know for where that comes from, right? For people, because you're right. If you're growing up a certain kind of way and nobody is telling you that this is the wrong way, because
correct,
you'll hear things a lot of times where, I'll give you an example for me. Growing up in a home where there was a lot of domestic violence, right? Okay. And always witnessing just men beating the crap out of my mom. Oh, okay. So it was what I grew up with. Ooh. And having this closed off heart and just becoming very hard as a woman as I got older when I was starting to date. I was very much like, I am not going to be that girl. There's no way that I'm going to end up in a relationship where I'm getting abused and beat until I became that girl. Okay. And I couldn't understand for the longest time, how is it that I witnessed and saw this and knew how hurtful and painful this was? How did I end up here in this space?
So you ended up in the same situation.
Well, I ended up in a abusive relationship.
Okay.
And I was just like, how did I get here?
Because a lot of times we're not comfortable unless there's pain.
Well, that's exactly.
That's one of those issues.
That's my point. And when I asked the question, how did I get here? I had to do the heavy lifting to figure out where I was in my life and my space to really answer that question and to be able to get out of it and not get back into it with somebody else. And it was, because that cycle, like you said, those vicious cycles of what we grow up with, it leaves us with something emotionally stamped inside of us.
Yes.
And so when I was telling you, I could tell the stories all day long, and I can even be impactful when I tell the stories, but it doesn't equate to what it emotionally left me with that became so familiar that I started to pursue that feeling. You know, and we talk about people who have addiction to substances, and yet there are some of us that are addicted to pain and to suffering. And we put ourselves in these environments because that's all we know. And when we talked about value and how we define things, that's why I asked you, how do you define value? Because I had a skewed definition of love, right?
Okay.
And so when I was going into relationships that were abusive relationships, I thought that those were loving relationships. I thought that I was going to pour my love into that person to help them. You know?
Oh, can I say this
Yeah,
real quick?
of course.
See, when you say that too, here's the issue with me as a boy being raised around all these women. I watched these women fix men. So what type of women did I choose?
Fixers.
Women that need to be fixed.
Oh, you chose women that need to be fixed.
I chose women that need to be fixed.
You're like, they're not going to fix me. I'm going to fix them.
I'm going to fix them. And that's why I say I pushed away the positive.
Okay.
The women who had the potential to fix me in my brokenness, I felt I wasn't broken.
But here's the lie. Nobody can fix you.
True.
Right? I can't fix anybody, even though if I'm a coach. I can't fix anyone, and no one can fix me.
Well,
we have to, it's like the trainer, like the coach and let's say athlete. It's like the coach and the athlete. The coach can't do the work for the athlete to get the muscle and the agility, right? They can coach them how, but the work has to be done by the athlete.
But they add that support though.
The
and
same
that's what
thing
I'm
goes
saying.
for us. And I think that this is how we end up choosing the wrong partners, is because we start to fantasize about their potential. And we get caught up
that's a whole nother story.
But this is a big reason why we choose the wrong partners for our lives, is because we want them to fit with what we want them to be.
Yes.
We don't really go into it. I think we said this last week, to really just accepting people for who they are. It's like, I met you. I like the way you make me feel. You make me feel warm and fuzzy. You're filling certain voids in my life.
Yes.
And now you're telling me who you're going to be. As opposed to, and I fall in love with that, as opposed to just saying, this is who they are, and am I choosing to love this person?
But a lot of us see the potential in a person, and we be like, I see the potential, and we hold on to that. Because we see something in them like, ooh, if they get it, they'll kill it. But I didn't realize how lazy this person was when I really got to know them. I didn't realize how unambitious they were. Some people just like to talk. Some people like a whole conversation about all these great things they want to do, and when it come down to it, I want to have my cousin go down there and get the paperwork for me. You don't really want this. So a lot of us will make those bad decisions, but if it was never modeled before us, and what I mean, this is why I was bringing up the thing about my dad, and I was giving a scenario about my mom, is because had I seen that, had I seen what it looked like for a man to love a woman to love on a man and support, blah, 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 it would have skewed my mindset because I wanted somewhere to fit in. But in my community, I dealt with more people bashing my mom for her doing right. I dealt with more people, everybody going against each other. So when it was time to even, if you were working close with somebody in a positive, somebody's there to tear it down. Because we never knew how to keep sustainable relationships in a positive. So all this skewed my choosing of the women. I got with a woman, her family on the outside looked good on the outside. Once I got into that, it was like Jeepers Creepers, the hills have eyes, what the hell have I done? I got up and I said, God damn, I said, this is some bullshit. And I'm in there like, is this shit really going on? It was really happening. It was really happening.
But at the end of the day, you were really choosing that.
I was choosing that because unconsciously, this is where I'm going with that. On the outside,
may I make
good.
a slight correction?
Wait, huh?
It's not unconscious, it's subconscious.
Okay, subconsciously.
Okay.
But I'm saying on the outside,
Because
it looked
unconscious
good,
means you've been knocked out.
right? Oh, look,
Subconscious means it's in your
I was
body or
knocked out
mind.
while I was going into it. So what I was saying is, I'm really drifting back to what I'm used to.
Right.
It's one of those things where on the outside it looks so good, and I realized, wow, they jacked up more than my family.
But
So,
you know what's, okay, and that's so external, and I get it, but it's like, and this is like, well, again, I'm gonna keep circling back to the question is, why do we choose the wrong partners? And I think we also, not only, and I'm going to tap back into the whole fantasy thing, like we definitely and I'm guilty of it, we fall in love with potential a lot, right?
Yes.
We want somebody to be something for us. And to be honest with you, quite often we want them to be something more than we even are for ourselves, right?
Ooh.
And we're so good at the whole fixing thing. Like,
Yes.
this is my prodigy. I'm going to make this person into this thing and mold them into this thing that I need them to be for me, right?
Yes.
Like in my past with my old relationships, it's like, that's really what I wanted. I like you. You make me feel warm and fuzzy. You're telling me all the stuff that I want to hear.
Yes.
And now I'm going to believe you regardless of what you show me. I'm going to believe in the fantasy because I'm going to lie to myself, and then I'm going to accuse you of lying to me because you're showing me who you are and I am not believing it.
Oh, that right there.
We get trapped in that, and we'll stay in it. I cannot tell you how many people I talk to and I coach, and they're in relationships that are like, I'm looking at it from what they're sharing with me and everybody else, even friends. I have friends. They're in a relationship where it's so blatantly obvious to me and to everybody else that this is a bunch of crap, that this person is manipulating you and lying to you and this, so on and so forth. And they're still in it because they want to believe so bad the lie.
Well, I've dealt with it. And when you talk about coaching, I was just on the phone with someone prior to getting here. And I'm talking to a guy who we come down to the realization that you picked up so much independence of your mom that you had to be independent yourself. We're talking about a man.
Yeah.
And so now he's sitting in isolation. And the issue with that, here's the dilemma with that, because as a man needs woman. I need you. When people say, oh, you don't need that, for me, what makes me thrive and move a lot better, produce better, I have a woman in that support, because who am I really performing for? I'm not just performing for myself. I got to perform for my children, blah, blah, blah. But I have you. I'm going to kill it 10 times more. Most men are cool with being by themselves and just having multiple women in and out. But having that main woman that's there makes a difference. So I became so independent, just like my mom, that I'm so independent. But when a man gets into isolation, there's a different drought that hits him than a woman.
Okay. Well, you can't speak for women, but why do you say that?
Because the way he turns on himself.
Okay, elaborate.
You have more men with addictions than you have women. And when I say addictions, if you look at the homeless population, highly men. If you look at the addiction population, more men. You look at more men will go into a substance abuse to get rid of themselves.
Why do you think that is, though?
It's one of those things when I have given up. The way a man gives up in your face, you'll never know. So you'll be like, oh, you okay? And I can put my game face on every single day, show up every single day, do the same exact thing every day. And you're like, he's cool.
But I'm going to challenge you a little bit. I'm going to challenge a little bit, because it is a very ignorant thing for you to say that women don't do that. And I'm just going to advocate for women, because I am one. I can only speak on behalf. So I will say this. There are so many women, self-included, that will brave their face for the sake of their children, for the sake of their family. They will get up there and they will grind and they will work till their wheels fall off. Okay. Till they have nothing left in them. They will cry in the shower, but they'll put on a brave face for their children. So when you say that men do that, women do that too. But we don't feel like we can give up as quickly as you are.
But we don't have as much help on the side as you do either, because there's a woman.
But that's not true.
Let me tell you something.
Hold on. No, I'm gonna challenge you on this. Let's just paint a picture. You got a couple, okay? A man and a woman, okay? Okay. And this is going to be so controversial because we're going to both have different opinions about this. We're about to. A man and a woman, they end the relationship. Woman gets the kids, right? She has primary custody of the children, right? Okay. Dad has them on the weekend. Mama has them on 5 days a week. Are you suggesting that a woman who has her children and is a single parent has more help than a man who can literally go on his own without his kids?
Yes, you have more help. When I fall, listen to me. When I fall, there is no help there for me when I fall. There is always help.
Who's helping the woman when she falls? Her kids?
There's men sitting right there waiting to help you.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because Absolutely. There's a man. There are men that will pay you whatever it is just to sleep with you. There ain't no woman walking up to me saying, "Hey, handsome, how much would it cost to get some of that D?" There ain't no woman saying, hey, I want to fly you over to
But what about
Dubai. I would love to pay for your plane tickets and all your bills. Listen to me, the financial aspect of it, because what a man does when I lose all my financial power and all of those things and I'm sitting in a slump, it's harder to get up. Then I'm just saying this because you're saying it don't happen. You're saying it don't happen, but it does happen.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen, okay? And the comments we're making are very vague, right? Because it's case to case. But I can tell you, for me as a woman personally, and I have struggled. Okay. But I am not the kind of woman that's going to take a handout from a man who's trying to sleep with me.
Once again, though, that's you. But I'm just saying, does it happen?
No, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I could paint a picture for something that happens for every person, man or woman. It doesn't matter. Okay. But what I'm saying is when you make a blanket statement like that, there are a lot of women outside of myself that are very prideful women, that are dignified women, and they have kids and they want to be respected by their children. And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody who does that kind of thing on the side. But there are a lot of women that are not getting handouts like that.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one more time.
Or they're not going to take it.
But does it happen? Is it offered? Yes or no?
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Is it offered? Yes,
you asked of course.
It is offered.
Okay, yes. But let me ask you the same question. Are there not some lazy men who will lay down the D and be shacked up with some woman who will take care of him?
There are men. There are men.
So we're saying the same thing.
Because those are men that the woman. Now here's the back and forth with this is because there are women that chose that mama's boy. There are women that chose that man because he is somebody that she can control.
The point that I'm trying to make is there's somebody for every type of person. Okay.
True.
For every drug dealer, there's a drug addict.
Correct.
There's always going to be that nemesis that's going to match. It's like
for the market. Yes.
So I could tell a lazy man that says, I fall on my feet, nobody's going to help me. But if a prideful man says, I don't want nobody to help me, some men don't want help. They're too prideful in their help.
If I accept help as a man, I got to wonder who you told, what they said, how they feel about me, what the eyes are with me. And then they're going to look down on me and tell, it's a pride, but it's one of those things where I cannot walk around because my pride is all that I have.
Yeah, but you don't think that some women walk with that same pride?
Listen to me.
Yes or no?
I believe that there are women. Okay, you want to do that,
but are there women? Listen, I guess if we get pigeonholed and we only want to think all men, and I'm going to say this for both men and for women, because women are guilty of doing it, and so are some men.
Okay.
When we are jaded and burnt out and we've had this life experience and we've got all these stories piling on top of us, and we get pigeonholed and we start to look at every person, every man. Women do this. Every man's a narcissist. Every man's a cheater. Every man is this. Every man is that. And we limit our life and the people we can have in our life because we allow the fact that we've been jaded and hurt by a specific group of people to be the consensus. And it's just not the reality. We have to check in with ourselves and say, every man can't be a bad guy, because that's just not true. I have a son.
That's very true.
If I believe all men are bad, then that means my son is bad too. I cannot believe that. What I have to do is take accountability for myself and say, every man that I have chosen for my life at this point in time, they haven't been great, right? As an example, why am I choosing these people for my life? Because the reality is I am making the choice.
Yes,
so
you are.
Tapping into self and saying, what is going on with me?
But
why am I not worthy enough? Why am I telling myself I don't deserve this? Is it my childhood? Is it the fact that I didn't have a dad? And again, you ask yourself the question.
But you're talking about the healing aspect of it
but
now
what I'm
too. And a lot of people have not gotten to that point where they know how to heal and where to start going with the direction of healing, because healing internally is a work in itself.
But I agree.
But a lot
I'm
of people
just
haven't gotten there.
piggybacking off of what you're saying because I want to get clear. Because some people will listen to what we're talking about and they'll be like, yep, he right. Because they're looking for confirmation in their own narrative. Do you understand what I'm saying? And same thing, I could be like male bashing men all day long. Women love. You see it on social media all the time.
It's not about bashing. It's about a mindset that we got to have an understanding of. That's what I'm saying. So this is mindsetters. But when we talk about mindsetters and the mindset, I'm talking about the mindset of understanding, to understand the mindset, because when we compare ourselves, we can't compare. There is no comparison.
Wait, that didn't make sense. Say that again.
I said when we compare ourselves, Clevonne and Lorraine, there is no comparison. The weight I carry, the way you move,
Okay.
Your hips, my hips. There's a different dynamic between both of us.
Okay.
So we cannot compare the two. It's about respecting the two. And because a lot of us did not know how to respect the two, there are a lot of boys that don't respect women. There are a lot of women that don't respect men. And I'm saying within my community, I was taught not to respect men. And I would watch women disrespect men as well. And then the men who were disrespected would jump on the women. And this is a community issue. Then we got the music playing in the background. So now the music in the background saying, F that B, beat that trick. So now I'm sitting up here listening to this bull crap, and it took me up 42 years to get to this point to say a lot of that was wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of that need to be redirected. A lot of our children need to know what it is to hear the positivity, because the music, the videos, the TV is portraying what they're going to be. Right now, the biggest portrayal is homosexuality in all the cartoons. My daughter was just showing me a cartoon this morning, and she like, watch this fighting scene, Daddy. I'm like, okay. And the dude started holding hands in the cartoon. I said, why? Why? My daughter was like, she just bust up laughing because she knew I was going to say something. But it's all about what we're viewing and how it gets into our mindset. Breaking all of that, chiseling that away to get to this point of knowing what a healthy relationship looks like, how to choose better, how not to beat yourself up for your mistakes. All of that adds up.
I agree with you, but I had to chime in because initially the rabbit hole you started going down was that all women are like this and all men are like this. And that's where I had to kind of interrupt that, because and I'm not saying that that's what you think and feel right now.
I wasn't saying all women, but I was saying so it happens for a lot more women. Okay,
but again, the way that you were articulating yourself as though it was a blanket statement, right? Like, like men only struggle with being alone, or men only. And it's like, that's just not true. There are just as many prideful women as there are prideful men. There are men who have lots of help just as much as there are women who have lots of help. Are the scenarios and what they're getting help for different? There are some people who won't receive help and ask for help and get help.
But may I say this? Women don't have as high of a suicide rate as men. There is not a policy put out on women as much as it is for a man in leadership, period. Because they know the pressure and everything on him is going to cause him to break at some point. When we look at our deaths, men die before women.
But does it
mean...
In
families, hands down, grandpa is gone. Grandmama's still living 90-some years old strong.
Okay, but
still singing that thing.
Does it mean that because men, let's say I don't know the statistic, I've not run the numbers, okay? So let's just, for assumption's sake, say that you're correct, that those are the statistics, right? That men have a higher rate of suicide. I'm not negating that. But does that necessarily mean that men and women don't have the same amount of pressure? It just may be, and again, I don't know the numbers, but it just may be a conversation on resilience. Okay? I don't necessarily believe that men and women suffer differently. They suffer for different reasons, but they don't necessarily suffer different. Pain is pain. Defeat is defeat. When you're feeling like helpless and hopeless and you feel like there's no way out, that is felt no matter if you're man, woman, or non-binary, or wherever you're deciding for your life. The reality is, as a human being, emotionally, we can all equate to feeling certain levels of suffering in our lives. Now, what we do with that and the level of resilience that we have might be different amongst men and women. I don't know.
But it hits us different is what I'm telling you.
But you can't say that it hits different.
It does, because I need you to understand you have a son.
Yes.
And it's some things that your son may never tell you. And I'm pretty sure with your son and every other man that probably listen to this will agree with what I'm saying as a man.
I agree with you.
So listen, you raised a man, but you're not a man.
Okay, but you're not a woman.
And it's not a shot, mama. Listen to it.
But you're not a woman. Hold on. You're not a woman, okay?
Correct.
So you can speak on behalf of men on what you feel, but you certainly cannot say in comparison what we feel. You can't do that, because that's not fair. If you've never been a woman and you've never walked in her shoes, then you cannot understand what we feel emotionally.
But you are emotional. You are emotional. And women are given the privilege to be... No, we are not given the privilege to be emotional.
You may not be externally, but you feel emotion.
So did you just catch that? What you just said,
of course I did,
is everything for me as a man.
Okay.
I cannot, as a woman can go up in the store tomorrow and go in Target and have an outburst right now and say, I just want to give it up. And everybody will surround her. Oh, girl, please don't do it.
That's not necessarily true.
Listen to what I'm saying. As a man, if I say, I just want to give it up right now, they like, he want to die. And they going to call 911 on me. The approaches are always different in scenarios. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not saying you're incorrect, but that example was terrible.
Okay, it's a bad example. Well, here's the thing. Here's the reality. I cannot voice how I feel. I have to tuck it away. Because once again, men don't cry. Boys don't cry, don't say nothing. It makes me weak. I've been taught that since I was a boy by the people I was raised around. That's what I heard. And there are millions of more men who have heard this.
And so you don't think that there are women who don't cry or don't feel like they can cry?
Did you see what I said? That women are able to be emotional, able to cry. There's receptiveness because we're talking about Lorraine. I know.
No, I'm not talking about just Lorraine. Okay, I'm gonna talk about Black people. My mother's a Black woman. I was raised in a Black community with Black people. Okay, and Black women. And so when you talk about community, I understand which community you're referencing because I grew up in that community. I can assure you and I can tell you that a lot of my and I know not just Black women, but I know a lot of women, particularly women who are single parents. Okay, they don't have they don't have the support like you think that they do. And they certainly don't have time to break down and cry. You know, they may feel the emotions, they may get angry and act out whatever, but you don't feel like you want to cry. You build up this armor and this independence and you take on this masculine energy that says, I'm not going to cry. I don't cry in front of anybody. I know a lot of women that don't cry because they see it as a form of weakness for themselves and they don't have time to be weak because they're compensating for the men that are not there. I'm telling you.
I get what you're saying, but there's more rental assistance for a woman. There's more Medicaid assistance for a woman. So I can't get insurance.
If the woman, but
the Medicaid
a woman
insurance.
with children.
A woman with children is going to get more benefits now. Now we're talking about her getting more benefits on top of the benefits.
But she has children.
Why? Here's the thing, because you're going into this children part. Why don't women just say, you know what, I had this kid, we're going down here to split it 50-50. Because the system is set to make sure.
Are we diverting off the point?
I'm drifting, but you know how to bring us back, like you said earlier. So the issue is that there are so many women that are very quick to make sure that I'm going to go down here and use the system against you because it was used not just against him, but against the family. And a lot of women get in their feelings, because we were talking about feelings before, get in their feelings and say, you ain't going to see that child. And when you said earlier, when we go through a divorce, she gets the child, she gets the house and everything. And who loses? Him. So when a man loses everything, what do I have left? I got to pick myself back up by my bootstraps. And you are already given the handout to move forward. So now you moving ahead of me for my sacrifice. I'm not saying that. I respect women who stay home and hold it down at the house. I respect you. I appreciate you because there are not many women who do it, who are capable of it. I respect those women because that's a full-time job. But we're talking about men. When they lose, a man will take a blow and they'll tell him, figure it out. You on your own. That's your problem. They will strip the kids from the man and they know that the child needs to be around him. And the man will sit there and die internally and never say nothing about it because it just broke his heart and broke him down. That's the whole goal, is to break him down. So when a woman goes and helps the system break him down.
You sound like a jaded man.
I'm a man that's been through the same thing.
That's what I mean.
So
that's my point.
You can't say.
And I'm not, listen.
I'm
Clevonne,
passionate, not jaded, baby.
Hold on. You're a little jaded. And you are passionate as well. And I'm not knocking you for it. And I'm not going to take away from your story either because it's real and it's relevant. But when you dial it back, there are so many different variables and scenarios to what you're saying, okay? But the way you articulate it as though that is the norm, that is just what it is.
Because in my community, it's the norm. You say you was raised in that community, so you seen it.
Yeah, but I have a different perspective from a woman. I saw a vicious cycle. You said it yourself earlier. You were a man who had a child out of spite.
Correct.
That woman is a single mother raising that child because of your spiteful ways.
By choice.
Why is it her choice?
No. Listen to this. And I want to be clear about this because there's a lot of great fathers.
Hold on. No, I don't want to go into a different direction. I'm using your specific example. So it's like, where do we in the story take accountability? And again, we can go into the community and we can look at what my mama did, what my mama didn't do, what my daddy did, what my daddy didn't do. And so this is creating me and the way that I am. And then I'm mad because the system took my kids. But it's like, what are you doing as a person, when you're procreating, when you're making children, who are the people you're choosing? It goes back to what we said originally.
Breaking that cycle,
but when the cycle's not broken and people are unaware that the cycle's not broken, they tend to blame other people.
Well, a lot of people don't know how to get out of that cycle. They don't know how to change that mindset,
right? Because
which
they
is
get
a challenge.
Hurt and they get jaded.
No, because a lot of people don't have the mentors to guide them. When you have the right mentor and guidance, you will be successful. The right one, not the wrong one.
Okay, I'm going to challenge that just a little bit. You have to, it's twofold. You can have the right mentors in your life, but if you're not a student to that mentorship, it means nothing.
It got to be somebody that can relate to where the person's at.
It depends on whether or not a person has an openness to grow. I could learn a lot from someone who doesn't have my same story just as much as I can learn from someone who does. I just have to have an openness to say what they're sharing with me can add value to my life. They don't have to necessarily relate to me, literally. If people, there are many people in your life, there are many people in my life growing up in the circumstances I grew up that I just didn't listen to. I was stuck in my ways. I was stuck in my environment. I was stuck by what was familiar to me, that I had mentors all the time coming in my life. I didn't have an openness for them.
Why did you have more mentors coming your way?
More? What do you mean by more?
You said I constantly had mentors come in my life. Why did you have so many?
Are we going down this I'm a woman rabbit hole?
No. It ain't about a woman. I'm asking you a direct question. Like, why do you think...
Who said more, though? Why are you using the word more?
You said I had mentors.
I didn't say
coming.
more.
Okay, okay.
But you're turning this and you're saying more as though I got it because I was a woman.
No, that's how you perceived it. Okay, let's be clear.
What did you mean by that?
Let's give clarity really quick. So why do you feel you was able to have mentors come to you? What was it about you that made the mentors want to come in your life and be guidance?
Everybody has some mentorship around them, whether they see it or not, whether it's a kind teacher, whether it was a coach for an athlete, right? Whether it was somebody at a rec center, whether you were getting into trouble and your correction officer, your probation officer was trying to give you some guidance. We've all had people along, whether it's an old timer that's been through all the BS that's trying to tell us something. I didn't say I had more. What I said was it's always around you if you're open to receive it. A lot of us are not paying attention to people and listening to people that are trying to give us guidance. We don't want to hear it. Why? Because a lot of us think we already got it figured out, or we know what we're doing, or I don't want to be told, or this is just the way it was.
Well,
now I'm going to, hold on.
Okay.
Why did you say more? Why did you hear that when that's not what I said?
Okay, I asked you a question. You corrected me. That was a question.
No, I'm not trying to correct you, though.
No.
This is powerful. And the reason why I'm doing this is because when people are communicating, we hear what we want to hear, right? We've been talking about women having more than men do, okay? That's been your narrative this whole time.
Oh, now that is the more. But
so
when
what I
it comes
find
to
very interesting is that when you describe my mentorship, you threw in the word more and didn't even realize it because that's not what I said. So it's perception.
Okay, listen
These
to
are
me.
those
Wait.
blind spots.
I appreciate you correcting me on the more part.
I'm not trying to correct you.
But
I'm just trying to show you a blind spot.
I got you. But when I asked you, why do you feel you had the mentors that came to you? You answered that.
Yeah.
And you answered the entire thing I was just about to say. Most people will have a mentor come to them and they're not receptive to it because they are so hardened. You answered that part.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you got to have somebody that meets you where you are so you can actually change the mindset.
That doesn't work.
You got to have,
You as an individual have to have an openness. Everybody can, it's like the saying when you bring the horse to the water, you can't make the horse drink the water. That's very external. It doesn't matter how much people meet you where you're at, if that's where you want to stay.
It does matter because your receptiveness.
Nope. Say one more time. It doesn't matter if people meet you where you're at, if that is the place in which you want to stay. A person has to have a willingness to want to be open and move. And I mean it on the deepest level and on the slightest level. I've had friendships, where we're ride or die and we've met each other where we're at. And I try to give that friendship a little bit of guidance because maybe I've had a worldly experience that taught me other things. And they don't want to move.
Okay, now that happens. That's a community issue because a lot of us go through that.
We can't make it a community thing. Sometimes we got to break it down to just who we are.
Okay, so for us, we
start there.
We choose people.
It's a great place to start.
We choose people. When I say community, because that's a broad statement.
Okay.
That's a broad because so many of us go through that with the friendships.
Yeah.
But when we're looking at you actually being receptive, the way you speak, the way you think, somebody come to you to get your attention, you're receptive.
Sometimes. I'm not always receptive.
But you're more receptive to when they can speak your language. Opposed to when they're speaking up here, high mighty, thou wilt here. And you like, I'm cool on that.
That's just perception though.
Okay. So when a person is speaking the language, we're going to use a kid that's a roughneck kid, hard from the streets. And they like, sir, you have to be receptive. And they like, man, get the fuck out of here. But then they be like, hey, get your mother house over here. You better. And they be like, a different type of receptiveness. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Now they got their attention. So you got to have somebody that catches your attention where you are a lot of times. So when we're talking about...
But you have to have an openness though.
That is true. That's true. I don't take that away from you.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't have that mentorship to guide them to the next level.
They do have it. They're not receptive to it.
I know a lot of artists who became great down the line. They became great. They became successful when they got with new management.
Right. Why did they become great and successful? Because they had an openness.
They had an openness, but then they had a different type of guidance to help them get there.
But they were open to the guidance. It doesn't matter how much you guide people. This is my point. Everybody's waiting for... I had a girl on my... I posted a video from last week, and this girl commented, and her comment was, my life will change when somebody gives me something. It doesn't work like that. And a lot of people think that. They think they're ready to get ready. They're waiting for somebody to come and save them. It's not how it works. That's not how this thing works in our lives.
Okay.
It doesn't matter that you don't have a mentor. It's because you don't want one. I could say that I want a mentor.
Ooh,
I'm telling you.
That's a deep statement when you say a person don't want one, because some people don't know how to get access to one, or they don't know where to look at. Because
I'm not saying okay, let's go to that. If I say to myself, I need to change my life and I need someone to help me. Okay, first of all, that's vulnerability. And a lot of people who are guarded and protecting themselves, like you said about the men earlier, the men don't get help because they don't want to ask for help, because they don't have permission to cry. They look at that as something is weak. Okay, so the first thing for that man, he has to decide, I'm at rock bottom here. My life is falling apart, and it's either fix it or end my life, according to how you're saying the statistics are, or I got to become vulnerable in this. And that's hard. Let
me ask you this question real quick. If your man came to you and he just crying every day, like, I'm tired of this, oh man, what would you tell him?
Crying every day.
Yeah. Just crying every day. Like, man, he just complaining about everybody. Like, what would you tell him?
Stop complaining about everybody. What are you doing about it? Listen, I've done that. I've had those hard conversations with myself and with partnerships.
No.
Hold on. Crying every day does not solve your problems. It is okay that you're feeling something emotional. I get that. I've been there. I promise you, okay? But at some point,
you would expect that more from a woman than you would a man. Am I right or wrong?
No, I don't. I expect it from people who feel sorry for themselves. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. People who are crying every day about their life, it's because they feel sorry for themselves. That is the truth. It doesn't matter if it's man or woman to me. If I met a person that every day they cried about their life, every single day, and everybody was just doing them wrong all day long, they're feeling sorry for themselves. They're pitiful. They're feeling sorry for themselves. When I'm crying about my life, I'm in my pity. That is the truth. We want to blanket things and we want to lie about things. You have to call a thing a thing. And I have been in a relationship where my person is feeling defeated. And that is okay. And that's beautiful if they feel comfortable to be vulnerable with me in that. And I am very receptive to it. At least I like to think that I am. Mm-hmm. But take your time. Feel sorry for yourself as long as you need to, as long as you don't stay in it. And then let me know when you've released that energy so we can get back to work.
I'm going to say
at some point you got to pick up and you got to do it, but you have to do that.
Which is true. Society respects and accepts a woman coming home crying.
Oh my God, here we go again.
It is. It's the truth. It's the truth. A woman.
But what does that have to do for you? You as a man solving your problems?
Because I'm going off of what you were just saying when you was talking about a man feels vulnerable. He can't do this. He can't do that. He needs to get up. And I'm telling you, there are so many men who are broken. There are great men who work, who go to work, who do all these great things at home, but he don't get the praise. He don't get the hand claps. He don't get the reassurance. We give mama. And here's the truth. Who gets more praise on Mother's Day and Father's Day? Mother's Day. We have galleries, we have clothes, we have everything for a woman, all the commercials. You better shower her with the gifts. And then it comes to a father.
Are you mad about
we have
it?
green cups right here if you want your father to play ping pong. The fuck? So when we look at how a man is actually respected in society, we don't get the same respect as you because we're looked down. We're down there.
I disagree with you.
You disagree because you're a woman. I'm a man living this. So this is where
there's so many different variables to this conversation.
So let me jump off there really quick.
Do women get more respect in the workplace? I mean, we could have all these political.
Well, look at how the movie agenda is pushing right now. Is that the woman is the hero? Definitely, she's the hero. I've never seen a woman die in a movie over trying to save a dude.
Is that gonna solve your problems, Cleve?
No, I'm making a point.
But my point is this: you can forever and ever argue why the man and the woman are there's inequality, and nobody's going to argue with that part of it.
Okay.
If we break it down, there's going to be sides to it.
Yes.
But let's just agree to disagree, or let's just agree to say that both men and women have inequality depending on the type of man and the type of woman and the circumstances. We could play this game all day long.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, how does that help you as a man make choices for your life? You can spend all of your eternity talking about how the women have it better than you do, and it's still not going to solve your problem as a man. It isn't.
Okay, so how can I as a man make it better? I would say definitely as a man, know your value. That's one.
Okay.
Learn your value, learn your worth. Stop giving yourself to every woman and every person that you see.
Okay.
That's one thing I've never taught, and I've learned that over time.
Okay.
Another thing as a man is to dig deep to start healing within the actual wounds, or heal from the traumas and the things that broke you. Start taking accountability for your actions your part in the situation. So I talk about when I had the child, right? And then you say that woman's a single woman. I am a great father. I love being a father. I'm
Never
here and
said
available.
you weren't.
You did. You got to look back at this. But what I'm saying is,
I didn't say you were a bad father.
No, you never said I'm a bad father. You said a woman's a single woman. Now she's a
Is
single
she not
mother.
single? Are you
She's
with her?
a single mother.
Is she a single
No,
mother?
I have to be with her.
Okay, so I said the right thing. I didn't say something wrong.
Got it. See that?
Okay.
See how we talk different languages? This is where we got to get to know each other. So with the woman being a single woman, I have to accept my part because I was in this space. Why did I do this?
Right.
Why did I make that choice?
Right.
How did I get here? How did I get there? Instead of blaming everybody else, I have to start addressing myself. That's how I become better as a man. And when we talk about the part of feeling sorry for myself, it is easy to feel sorry for myself because I'm always looking, is somebody going to ever come rescue me?
Right.
Or help me or save me or help bail me out or take in consideration?
It's so external.
It is external because a man is more external. Men are just like the wild kingdom when you look at it. I'm being real. Look at Discovery Channel.
Oh, my Lord.
You can say my Lord all you want. When you look at those male, who's going to battle? I've never seen a woman animal battle to mate with a man. I have never seen it. You come back and tell
Clevonne,
me. The men
what separates
have their place.
us from the animal kingdom, from the animals themselves?
We walking on two legs, but there's some animals that walk on two legs too.
But other than that, what is it?
What I'm saying is, as a man,
it's our cognitive ability. It's our frontal lobe. It's the way we've evolved as human beings. What's different is we survive for different reasons, right? We have decisions that we can make. We're cognitive people. Okay, so you can't just animalize yourself and just say it's about the animal kingdom and who's fighting for who. Because we don't operate like the animals do, or we'd have a very different world. That is a reality, okay? So I appreciate you and your Discovery Channel.
Hey, look, when you see the Discovery Channel, because they are tapped into that spiritual aspect as well. So,
all right, but that's a whole nother
that's a whole nother story. But where I was going with the animal kingdom part is that there's a man, he has a role. This is why I was trying to go with this. As a man, he has a role.
Okay.
And he has to know his place as the leader in that role.
That is correct.
Now, these men, when they choose to mate with the woman, they definitely have a woman that will support them. You have to look for the right support as well. There are a lot, I'm going to look into this with my camera right here.
Your camera's right here.
There are a lot of men, there are a lot of you men out here who have chosen the wrong element of women. The wrong element of women. And you need to start choosing better, because when you go off to work and you work those 16 hours and you sacrifice and you got somebody that you come home to that don't appreciate you, you need to reevaluate your choices.
No.
No,
Okay,
because it's his choice. Listen to what I'm saying. Your choice. I'm not breaking up a happy home. I'm not breaking it up.
I didn't say you were.
What I'm saying is you need to reevaluate. If you're going to come home and complain.
What are they reevaluating?
You coming home, you're going to complain about this person, don't appreciate you, blah, blah, blah.
What are they reevaluating?
Reevaluate you and your choices. Mm-hmm. He chose that situation. Yeah. If you're going to go make the sacrifice and start building, you got to reevaluate what are you choosing. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because a lot of young men, there are a lot of men who choose because of accessibility, like I said earlier. Because it's accessible, I chose it. I didn't choose it because it was right. I chose it because it was available. If it was the right one, I wouldn't have chose for accessibility. I would have chose because it's right.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? I lost you.
You didn't lose me. I'm just letting you run on this tangent about what you're saying.
Oh, well, you know what I'm saying.
You keep running around in circles and contradicting yourself and all these things.
I'm contradicting myself?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay,
but it's okay.
Give me the example.
No, it's okay because it's okay.
But fix it, though. Come on, fix it. Bring it back around. Fix it.
It's just two different dynamics, and maybe you're just kind of throwing different things out there or whatever. But at the end of the day, okay, and I'm just going to say this and then leave it there, is that it doesn't matter man or woman. It doesn't matter what gender you are in this. What matters is how people are showing up in your life, and why we're choosing certain people has everything to do with you and very little to do with the person you're choosing. And we can blame a lot of external things, and those things are valid. We've been through things that have molded us and made us a certain way, and I say this over and over and over again. But at the end of the day, especially as we get older and we experience more things, we have a tendency to get a little jaded, okay? And we base our perception of the world based on our life experiences, and we just assume based on those experiences that these are going to be the outcomes. We believe that. And so we just take what we believe. You're not going to get any more out of a person than what you feel for yourself. Okay? So if you're with a messed up woman as a man, it's because you're a messed up man.
Yes.
No matter what you're saying about all the animal kingdom and all that stuff, or the language of this and this and that, it's like you got to tap in. When you say your language is to value a woman, I think that's a beautiful thing by the way you defined it. But then you have to find value within yourself so you can find that valuable woman. You're just going to meet your own dysfunction.
So I appreciate you coming back around and saying the same thing I said in your own words as a woman. I truly appreciate it.
Go.
and for all the young ladies too, it's not just for the men, for the women as well. Mm-hmm. You got to start really taking into consideration the longevity move you do make with the man that you do choose, because this man could make you or break you within your life. You got to look.
That goes both ways.
It goes both ways,
yeah.
and one thing I learned is that you got to start looking at their family dynamics too. That really matters in a lot of ways.
It matters, but I don't think it should be the holy grail, because I can say that if you were to judge me by my family dynamic, you might not think I'm a good fit woman if that's how you were looking at me. But not just because you came from a bad background. And I'm not saying it doesn't have relevance, okay? Because it does have relevance. It really, truly does. But it's where are you in the story of what happened to you? And I think that takes some precedence as well, because some people have done their work and they remove themselves from those environments, and they're just better people because of those environments.
But like you said earlier, you were in a relationship that was similar to your mom's.
Yeah.
But did you go chase that, or did it go find you?
It found me for sure.
So were you provoking it? What would you say out of that, where you take accountability? Did you provoke any of it, or did it just happen and you just went with it?
No, I met a person I was very attracted to. There was a lustful attraction. There was an infatuation with that person. And we fell in love. That's what we thought we were doing. Okay. But when you fall in love with somebody, it creates vulnerability. And with vulnerability, and it triggers fear. With fear, turns into dysfunction. Okay. So while we loved each other in the essence and what that relationship was, and it was beautiful, loving somebody when you didn't come from stability and love makes you feel afraid of things, whether it's abandonment, alone, being alone, whether this person's going to cheat on you. All these things start to seep in, and you start acting out of those fears. So some people become abusive, they become manipulators, they start to down talk a person, whatever they can do to try to keep them in their dysfunctional way.
So you were like kind of provoking it low key.
No, it was, I'm not talking about me specifically what I was doing. There were things that I did, there were things that he did, because we didn't understand love. We understood protecting our fear and thinking that was love.
But Lorraine, you're skipping around the question. Let me bring
but I
it
don't
back
understand
around.
when you say provoke.
Let
what do
me
you
bring
mean
it
that?
around. Who was the aggressor in the relationship?
As far as what?
To make it toxic, who was the aggressor? How did you get to the domestic violence aspect of it? Who was the toxic person? Would you say that you was toxic out of that relationship?
Okay, so I would. Okay, that's a loaded question, and I think very differently. Okay, and so it's hard for me to answer, and it's not because I'm.
Can you paraphrase it just a little bit? Give us a snippet.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do that.
Okay.
Because I'm in a different space right now. If you were to ask me at that time in my life, I would say definitely he was the antagonist.
Okay.
He was definitely the person that was the abuser.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
He had triggers. I had triggers. His triggers made him more abusive.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Okay, got you.
As it stands present day, I don't like live in that space with that narrative anymore. So I don't like to just point the finger on him, but that is the reality. He was the antagonist.
So, and I asked you this because like you said before, there are people that's going to be watching this and there are people who
because I don't want to blame a person
but
anymore.
it's not about blaming a person, but it's somebody that want to hear the background of your story to say, okay, I did antagonize the situation. I did have my moments. You know, it's a person want to hear that to relate more in depth.
I think every time you're in an abusive, any type of abusive relationship, each person has their moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think, and this is why when you say taking side, was it you, was it him? We chose each other and we stayed in a relationship that was dysfunctional. And that if you were to ask him, he would say, well, you shouldn't have done these things or said these things to trigger me. And I could argue and say, well, just because I said this or did this, that doesn't mean that you have to do this. And then what happens is you do this like unhealthy game of tennis, seeing who's going to win the match. Well, what is that going to cost you?
See, and with that, and I just want to ask that question because it's
but it's like I said, it's loaded because I try to be very mindful when I do these shows is stop looking for somebody to blame. So when you ask me the question, it would mean that I have to answer by blaming him. I can't do that if I want to take accountability for my life.
Well, that's so overall from here on out, you just say, you know what? I had my moments where I antagonized him.
No, I don't think the relationship was messed up because of us. Okay. I could say, yeah, this day it was me, this day it was him, this day it was me, this day it was him. Who cares? We were choosing that, the both of us. It wasn't one person chose to be in a shitty relationship. Two people showed up because of whatever void and emptiness he had, found the void and emptiness over here. And those two voids married one another thinking, you're going to fix me, I'm going to fix you, you're going to, and all this stuff. And that's where we messed up. It doesn't matter who was wrong or right at both times. Because let me tell you something.
Okay.
When you measure right and wrong, it costs you something. You get a payoff to say I'm right.
Okay.
Okay? If you're unjustified, that makes me justified. There's a payoff to say, there's a payoff to that. I get to be right.
See,
but it costs you something. And what it costs you when you're blaming people and looking for who's the worst, who's did this and that, it costs you connection. It costs you love. Sometimes we have to lay down our swords in our lives and say, what is my participation in my life? What am I doing? What are the choices I'm making? I can't blame this person for being the wrong partner for me unless I'm going to look at myself and say, what is it about me that I'm choosing this person?
Which is true. So, now this is a whole nother topic.
And we only got like literally
I got you.
Listen, I'm
going to pump this out in 30 seconds.
Okay.
But I would love for us to tap into how a kid that's the sexual the
Oh my
sexual
God! Did you just say that
aspect.
when we have 30 seconds
Yeah,
left?
when the sexual aspect is heightened from being violated down the line as well.
I mean, that is a whole nother
That's
can
a whole
of
nother. But I
worms.
want us to touch on a topic like that
I
too.
don't even know if I want to go that deep in
Well,
conversation.
hey, look, I would love to, because here's the thing: a lot of people have gotten into situations similar and they don't know how to get out of it.
Okay.
And what we're doing
And that's true.
And we didn't even fully cover the topic we was covering right now because we bounced around. And I appreciate you for having me here. I do appreciate you.
I like it.
And
I like it. You challenge me. I like it.
The biggest thing is helping people. I'm a storyteller. So I'm more so painting the picture.
We all are storytellers.
Okay, I'm more so painting the picture and getting people to understand the environment, and then how do we get to the point where I'm here, and then how I get here. That's what I'm doing when I'm translating the dialogue.
The answer to that is to stop blaming everything that's happened to you. You have to stop.
Oh, you saying for me?
No, I'm talking in general. I'm answering the question.
Okay.
But yes, for you too.
Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't. You're going to make my blood pressure go up. I just found out about that.
Be aware. Understand that these things have affected you. They have directly affected your life emotionally and all those things. Be aware of that. Understand it. But stop letting it be the thing that's controlling your life. When we're looking to blame our environment, our circumstances, and all that stuff, we give away our power in that, right? I have had a lot of things happen to my life. If I talk to a lot of people, some people are going to listen to my story and be like, dang, that's messed up. I can't believe you went through that. There are other people who are going to be like, that's nothing. Here's my story. It doesn't matter. It has somehow impacted us emotionally inside, right? These things have happened. But it's like, what now? Right now, what do I want? Where are those mentors? Am I going to be open to receive a change for my life? And when we talked about it last week, it doesn't mean sometimes you don't economically have the means to make change in your life. So you got to start making little switches in your mind on what you have in your environment. And you got to stop blaming everybody for your shit. You have to. Well, that partner in your life that's crappy is because you chose that crappy partner and you're staying.
True.
Now you can go through your mind and you can go through these loops and you can rationalize all this stuff and you can keep yourself in that environment, hoping and praying and thinking things will change because that you want that to change. Or you can just be honest with yourself and quit lying to yourself and say, I'm choosing this.
Choosing this. And another thing is when a person has chosen the right person, but the intimacy ain't there. I wanted you to touch on that too.
That's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation, but I want to put it on record.
Because there's different layers to why intimacy goes away. Okay, we could talk about that next time.
I want to bring that up. How do you hold on to that? How do you hold on to that? It's a great person, great positive relationship, but the intimacy needs prayer. I would love to touch on that as well, because a lot of women. That's
definitely a different dynamic. That's a whole nother conversation. It would actually be. I think now that would be a great conversation because that is real, and I think that you can have when you're in a relationship for a long period of time and you feel your partnership is great overall.
Yeah.
You could seep into friendship, and you could end up becoming more friends than you are romantic partners, and so that's a matter of. The ability to be erotic and all kinds of things. So we could talk
because I had a lot of women approach me with that, and I'm like, man, this is a topic I would love to touch on as well.
And that's a great man and woman conversation and a libido conversation too, because everybody has a different reason why intimacy kicks in for them.
Yes. And that's why I brought up the thing.
And are we talking intimacy or are we talking sex?
Both of them the same.
Okay, because it could be two different things.
Oh,
too.
well, sex will be behind the trash can behind Walmart. Intimacy is when we get home. Because let me tell you something. I'll meet you behind Fales Paredes if you wanted to go down. For real. Albertsons, I got you. But, that's sex. But it becomes intimate because it's so attractive. But the reason I brought up the essay part is because a lot of people who go through that, it's a trigger for them sometimes too. And it heightens. So a person that I can really touch on that as well, where I'm like, I'm trying to go in all day long. They're like, why are you doing that? It's like,
well, yeah. I mean, again, that could be. We can go into a whole conversation with that
right there. So that's a definite,
because there's different love languages. There's different reasons why people like sex and don't like sex. There's so many layers to that.
Yes.
And so that would be actually a really good conversation.
That's a definite a hot person brain turn off. I definitely wanted to talk about that. So I appreciate you.
I might actually bring a guest with. She's a coach. for my. She's going to be one of the coaches at my workshop at the end of the year, and she's Miss Love Doctor, and she taps into a lot of that. So I might invite her to come and have that conversation.
Okay, guys.
Is there anything? Is she? No, we ain't even gonna go there.
Look, I'm joking. It's a joke. You know I like to laugh.
I don't know about you.
She got her edges, right?
She do have her edges. She's beautiful. She's a beautiful woman.
All right, got it.
All right, so since we're closing this,
okay,
you leave it open for so much stuff.
Hey, look,
what do you want to conclude with all of the wonderful things that you said?
Ooh.
How would you like to close this up when it comes to why we are choosing the wrong person? And I don't even know if we really ever got the question answered.
We never fully got it.
But what would you like to say to the people out there listening?
When it comes to choosing a partner, this is what we end up at, is that you got to take a step back and look longevity, not momentary. A lot of people are in lust at the moment and correlate that with love. And you got to look longevity to say, these traits with this person, how is it going to affect my child? And like I say, with the family history, because sometimes that family history is so toxic that can I leave my child in the presence of these people? Are these people going to be nurturers?
I want you to stay on topic with answering the question. Why do we choose the wrong person? What is the advice you have to give to them on that? Not the other stuff you're getting ready to say.
All right, why do we choose the wrong person? Because it's something within us that needs to be fixed.
Amen.
But I'm trying to tell people right now, because somebody may look at this and get stuck on that one part. Make sure you choose the right person, longevity for your children. Your children need a great environment to be in too.
Yeah.
But why do we choose the wrong person? I chose wrong because it was available. And I was behind Fales Paredes and Albertsons. I think I made my daughter behind Smiths, I think. I'm
Lord
not sure.
Jesus.
So, that was before I was delivered. He said, I'm not horny no more. I am delivered. Thank you all. Thank you so much for having me on here.
I don't even know how to follow up on that. Oh my God.
Don't get serious, just talk.
Okay, I will say real quick, why do people choose the wrong partner? I feel like this, and I'm just trying to think of it off the top of my head. I would say that a lot of us choose who we are or what we need healing in. If you're finding the wrong partners, it's because it's a reflection of you in some regard. And I think that if you're in partnership right now with somebody who is wrong for you by how you perceive that, really break down and define for yourself, why do I say that this is wrong for me? What is it that I need from this person? And are those needs that you want for them something you have the ability to fulfill for yourself? Because sometimes we think a person is the wrong person and they actually could be the right person, but we have such a high level of expectation for them to fill our voids that you burn them out and you're thinking they're wrong and really the wrong is you. So you got to really tap in with self,
Ooh,
and that would have been something we could have talked about, because I do believe that sometimes you have a really good person in your life.
Yes.
And because they're not giving you everything you need and you're sucking the life out of them, and then you're blaming them for that.
Wringing a dry towel.
Because, yeah, and it doesn't mean that they're a bad person or they're not the right partner. It's just that you're not willing to pour that same level into yourself.
Yes, and
that would have been a really good segue too, because I think it's very easy for us to say somebody's not right for us.
Okay.
But we don't look at ourselves to see, are we being the right person for them?
Oh, that's a good one as well. And another good one is, because I know I don't hear too many people talk about business, because I understand business.
Are you going to bring up another topic?
Yes, I am. And I'm talking about prepare for the loss. We're wrapping it up. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for the loss. Save your money. Don't forget that. Save your money. Stop giving your money away. Save your money.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. And until next time, ciao.
God is good.
Amen. Yes, he is.